How old were you when you started eating sushi?
Good question. I probably tried sushi early 20s. I'd say early 20s. But I actually probably enjoyed sushi recently, a couple of years, 2, 3, 4 years maybe. When you go to like the right places. I think I used to just go to like so back home we've got like a Tesco's, which is like your Walmart, and I would just go and get the sushi out of the counter. And you know, not to knock it, it's nice, but it's not sushi. So yeah, the last couple of years really I've actually enjoyed more like I'm gonna have a bit of sea perch or snapper. Before I'd just get salmon and that was it. Yeah.
California rolls is sort of the starter.
Exactly, and that's what it was in Tesco's, the California rolls. Exactly that, yeah. And it's sometimes just the rice and the avocado and the peppers, you know, not even the fish. But yeah, now I can actually enjoy sushi.
How did you grow up? I'd love to know what life was like for you, younger Kyle, like pre-turning pro, life in London, born in Milton Keynes.
Born in Milton Keynes. I was born in Milton Keynes, but moved to London before I was even 1 year old. My brother was 2 or 3. I always had everything I needed, but we never had a lot. So let's say with food, we had everything we needed. Mum was amazing. There was always a meal on the table. She worked very hard to feed me and my brother. But we never had abundance. We went on like a local holidays and I was more outside playing football all the time than being inside and doing work and stuff. And it was kind of, you know, that's the way I was allowed to be, and I'm grateful for that because, as I said, you know, it's allowed me to work on football, but it was very. I got up to mischief as well. Done something I shouldn't have done. Dad was in and out of the picture. You know, he was around sometimes, and other times he wasn't around. And I kind of used to resent him for that. But growing up and realising his story when he was a kid, I've understood him a lot more, understood his struggles. But it was my mum. We was raised, so, you know, when I was, my mum was my mum and my dad. Taught me in particular, taught me and my brother all we know, and I've taken some incredible lessons from her, and I've got everything to thank to her really for how I am, and I'm always like to have my manners. I always like to be polite and respectful to people. I was taught from my mum early doors. Always respect your elders, be respectful, and definitely the work ethic. Because she worked so hard to raise us. She had to do everything. Put food on the table for us and put clothes on our back. And the school we went to, the uniform was. She got us into. She moved us into a really good area. And this is what I say. Like, you know, I had a really, really good upbringing because she put us in a great area, and to get us into a great area, we went without. So all of our money went on the house that she moved us into, and because of that, we managed to go to a really good school, but the uniform was really expensive. So I remember when I was a kid and I played playground football or soccer, and if I'd ever get rips in the knees, I'd have to keep those trousers for the whole year. I wasn't allowed to get new trousers. One pair for the year, yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you. So yeah, it was tough. It was tough for her. I can imagine, very tough for her. But when you're a kid, you're kind of oblivious to everything, and that's why, as I said, she just let me take my football and just go and play football, because that way, you know, I wasn't missing out on anything. So I spent a lot of time out the house, a lot of time at friends' houses or just in the street playing, and you know, as I say, it's kind of worked out for me.
Is Northwest London?
Yeah.
What sort of area is that?
So
like most of us, you know, if we know anything about London, it's either because we've traveled there or because people watch the Premier League.
Yeah.
Right. So,
Yeah.
you know, like people are aware of like the North London Derby and
yeah.
you know, which clubs are located where. I'm sure a lot of Premier League fans can tell you that.
So
But what's the neighborhood like?
So Mill Hill. So Mill Hill is beautiful. It's a beautiful place. Really, really nice place to live. But the thing with London is that you'll have a really nice area like Mill Hill, and you'll have a sort of a bit more deprived area or a bit more of a rougher area very close. So what I found myself doing as a kid was going to the rougher areas because that's where my friends were, and that's where the people I wanted to be around were. So that's the thing, you know.
That's where the people you wanted to be around.
Yeah, that's where all my friends have played. I went and played football in those areas. So that's where all the kids who played football were. With edamame, I just go hands still.
Go ahead.
I'll go hands.
I'm with you.
I'll go hands.
I'm fine on that. I'll do the same with the shishitos too.
I'll kind of always bring it back to football, and soccer is like my anchor, because that's what always took me out of bad situations or stupid situations. Always.
Football. By the way,
Soccer.
I can hear you. Soccer and football.
Right.
Yeah. I always love that conversation too with guys who grew up calling it football. Like I'm sure when you introduce yourself to people and they say, "What do you do?" What do you tell them?
Football.
I'm a professional footballer, right?
Yeah.
Is it hard to say soccer? Like,
Well,
do you...
I've said it a few times now, and they say you look a bit small to play football. I'm like, no, soccer. Sorry, soccer. Yeah, soccer. Yeah. I'm getting it, but I think people will say now as well, especially with me in particular, they'll say, they'll call it football to me. American people I meet, which is, I think it's just because it's getting more popular here now.
What was it about the sport? How did the sport call to you? Even while you're playing rugby, while you're playing other sports, so you can get out of class. Like, what are the early memories of how you became a professional footballer?
I remember the first time I really fell in love with the sport. I was playing a school football match, and I was in, so you call it grades, right? So I'd have been about 9 years old, 8 or 9. So I was in year 4, I think I was at school, and I played. A game was for year 5 and year 6, and I scored. And I just remember at the buzz of we won a game, and even though you're kids, we know what it is to win, we know what it means to win. And I was always competitive even before that. But because I scored the winning goals, it was like, I want that feeling all the time. And I love playing football anyway, I was always playing football before that. But that was when I really knew what it actually the feeling of being a footballer, if that makes sense, even though I was only young. And then from there, my mum put me in a local team, and I'd never played at a level before, but I did really well, scored 50, 60 goals in my first season.
50 or 60?
Yeah, but it's kids and it's the big goals, so I'm not going to blow my own trumpet, but the keepers are small and the goals are big, so you know, if you don't score, it's worse. It's a bad thing. And yeah, I guess that was it. It was from there, it was like, Mum, football. No matter what it was football. If I could go and train with one team or play for another team or whatever, it was just anything she could. And my mum took me all over the country to play football. And you know, if I kind of didn't have that, then I guess I wouldn't really have ever fallen in love with the sport. So I mean, yeah, it's just, I wouldn't say it's the right time, right? I mean, it was just because I got a bit of success, and I was obviously good at it, and that was just because I was always playing football. I don't remember. My dad tells me he was the first one to put a ball in my hand. I don't know. Who knows? But I just know that I always was good at it. So I kind of enjoyed the success, and then just rolled with it, really.
So you always knew though you were good. So it wasn't like your mom doesn't recognize, okay, this is a way for us to keep Kyle occupied, right?
Yeah.
So he's not going over there to, doing this and that and the other thing. He's
opposite.
actually really good at this, so let's, he's found something that he's passionate about, and he's also good at it.
So, complete opposite. I mean, my mum will watch this and she won't mind me saying, but it was the opposite. My mum always thought it was a pipe dream. And she wanted me to get a job. Just do it there, get a job and...
Like a real job,
A real
right?
job, a real job. So when I got released from Norwich at 15, so this is skipping a little bit now. When I got released from Norwich at 15, I wanted to enroll in the army. Just because, like, all I kind of was good at as a kid was football or fighting. And I don't mean fighting as in just being a bully and just going around fighting, but like I kind of did a bit of Muay Thai when I was a bit younger, and I just thought, like, what's the next progression of that? And it was either to become a MMA fighter or to do like a service and go in the army and become like what I would call a warrior.
So the army was an actual consideration for you younger?
Yeah. No, I genuinely, honestly, I wanted to enroll in the army, just because I just like kind of not necessarily like an alpha male type thing. It was just that I just used to see those guys as like real warriors, like, and of course I still do. Like, I see the guys as warriors, and I just thought, like, what am I gonna do that's active? I obviously like being outdoors. I was always outdoors as a kid. I like challenges. So what can I do? So that was when I thought football might not happen for me, that was the next step. And my mum, absolutely not. She nipped that one in the bud from day one. So that was when I had to find the next thing, which was MMA. And I'm sorry, skipping all over the place here, but then I trained MMA for 6 months, stopped playing football, and the story of getting back into football was pretty cool. Because I went and played a match for a team asked me to go on trial. Went and played a match, scored 4 goals, got signed. That's that.
That was it.
Since then, I've been more or less full time ever since then.
And how old are you? You're 15.
At that time, no. At that time, I skipped a long period there, but by the end of it, I was 18. 18, yeah.
So I think one thing people in the States have a hard time understanding, especially for team sports. Like tennis players, that's different. But signing as a professional when you're 15. You know what I mean? Like here, it's, you're still in high school and then you're off to college and you're trying to get a scholarship and all that sort of stuff. Like, how does that work? That's a totally different concept than our structure here is, realizing a professional opportunity or signing a contract when you're that age.
So the way it works, I'm not 100% sure on your concept, but the way it works in England is that you finish school at 16, so I'll be 16. And you will then, if you're at a professional football team, you will then do what's called an apprenticeship, which is where you'll become a scholar. So you're Monday to Friday, so this is what we did when I was at Brentford. Monday we trained like a professional, so we trained a normal day. Tuesday, normal day. Wednesday we had to go college for the day. Thursday we would train in the morning and then do college in the afternoon. And then Friday we would train and play on Saturday. So essentially, you really are a professional, because in England, the most teams are train Monday, Tuesday, off Wednesday, train Thursday, Friday, play Saturday, off Sunday. So your structure in your week is basically professional. So that's the way it happens there, and I guess it's, for me personally, I think it's a great way of doing it, because the amount of hours. So people talk about your 10,000 hours and all that stuff. The amount of hours you're putting in to your craft, which is football or soccer, is unbelievable. And especially if you've got a good team, and I had an incredible coach, and my development in those 2 years is astronomical, because I was literally 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, essentially playing football.
And so how good do you have to be recognized by a club like Brentford? I mean, that's
So first and foremost, Brentford wasn't who they are today.
Right.
Brentford was a League Two club, like a 4th tier club. All the success has come since then. I'd gone to Norwich, so I'd been picked up. So I've gone on, honestly, 50 trials as a kid, and had one yes. So from the age of, so as I said, so when I went into this team at 10, this Sunday League team, and I had all the success, scored loads of goals, started going on trials here, trials there, at big clubs, never got picked up. So just kept playing Sunday League, went to a new team, same thing, kept playing, went and tried at Watford, went and tried at loads of clubs, same thing, or at least I knew clubs were watching me. I'd always get interest, but never enough to make them sign me. And when I got to 15 years old, I was playing in a county game, and Norwich asked me to go in on trial. So I was in with them for, in total, I think it was about 3 or 4 months, and it was for a scholarship. So to go, it's not professional unless you get a professional contract, but it's basically professional football. It was to do that, and I was there 4 months, and then unfortunately they said no. And this is just, I think it's a great club. They sent me to Brentford. So instead of like making me go back to Sunday League or whatever, they put me in touch with Brentford. They said, look, we think you're going to do well there. And then within a couple of weeks, I've been signed by Brentford. And then, yeah, that was it for the next couple of years.
So when's the first time you actually cashed like a paycheck as a professional? Right, because professional is different.
So you get paid. So right, of course. So you get paid. You get paid very, very minimal, but you do get paid at 16. But my first professional contract was at 20. Was it 20 when I got signed from non-league? So I was playing semi-professional, working during the day, training on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and then games on Saturday. And at that stage, I hadn't given up on professional, but at that stage I was kind of like, I've given everything I can, and I started a new job, which was an incredible job, working for a really good company in London. And then a couple of months into that time, I'd been picked up by a team called Peterborough, and that was my first ever professional contract.
Do you remember how much your first paycheck was for?
Of course I do. I signed for Peterborough on £600 a week, and the funny thing is, I was earning more money working and playing non-league.
And you had like a real real job.
I had a real job. So I was a trainee construction manager for a company called Scanscar. So I had to do uni 1 day a week, doing my construction degree, and I was on site 4 days a week. So yeah, I was basically trying to become a foreman. It was honestly a great job and a great company. I actually really enjoyed it. And I was playing non-league football, getting paid, and I took a pay cut to turn professional.
What is non-league football like? Given that, again,
hard
most
knocks.
of our exposure is to
hard knocks.
very much league football.
It's hard knocks. It's where you find out what you're made of.
What do you mean?
So, not because the boys aren't serious, and it's not because people don't want to do the right things, but it's very unprofessional, a lot of teams. I'm talking 10 years ago. Now it's a lot different. Now it's a lot different. But there's no real team talks, there's no tactics, there's no analysis. It's just you train, you go and play a match, you get paid, you go on. It's just like that. So it's very easy to kind of we have a saying, you kind of get sucked into it, if you know what I mean. So it's very easy to sort of not find your way out when you've come from professional football or from a more serious setup where you actually work on stuff. But
I know there are non-league success stories. I mean, Jamie Vardy's name comes to mind, right?
Countless success stories. There's loads. So yeah, Jamie Vardy. There's boys I play. There's loads of boys I play with. You won't know who they are, but there's just success stories just because of they've come from them through the non-league. There's a Dwight Gell who's at Newcastle still. There's countless. You have McLean's and Mikel Smiths. Lee Tomlins, and these are all players I played with at Peterborough. And Peterborough, the reason why I wanted to go to Peterborough is because they had the #1 record for bringing through non-league players and making them into proper players, and then going on to a new club and earning real serious money. I mean, Connor Washington, like there's loads of players that have come through and done really well. But it's hard. That's what I'm saying. It's very, your chances of going down and coming back are very slim to, not none, but it's hard. But for me personally, the best thing ever happened to me. Potentially the reason why I never made it professional when I was 16, 17, 18 was more my mentality than ability. I've always worked hard. As I said, because of my mum, I've always worked hard. It was never that. It was more. I wouldn't listen. I kind of thought I was bigger than everyone else, bigger than everyone else. Just a bad attitude. I'm going into non-league. The only way I was getting out of it is if I fixed it. So I had to do some real work on myself and realise that it's not everyone else's fault.
So you're saying not like physical talent?
Physically, yes, as well.
Approach?
Both. Well, both. Physically, of course. So physically, my first season in non-league, I just got pushed about. I was 18, skinny, trying to be a striker. I got pushed about. So the next year I had to work really hard and get in the gym and do work. But for me, doing the work's easy. I don't find that hard. I want to do the work. So that's something I had to do, of course. I had to get bigger and stronger, which has helped me massively throughout my career. But the work I had to do that was real hard work was working on myself and working on my mentality and as I said, like I would blame everyone. So if I had a bad game or if I didn't get picked for the team, it was never my fault. It's everyone else's fault. I just had to learn that. Just look in the mirror. It's you. Like you stop blaming everyone else. And then that helped me really understand that. Okay, I wasn't good enough at Norwich. I obviously wasn't good enough at Brentford. So now what can you do to become good enough? It's not that I didn't get picked because the manager didn't want his desk or whatever. And that's how massively throughout my career I still had much more rejections and releases and stuff since then. And every time it's like, all right, well, may not work for you. I wasn't good enough for you. I believe I'm good enough for someone else and I will be one day and I will get to where I want to get to. And that's kind of made me, that's why I've got such a sort of, as I say, we call it a journeyman. So I've got a long CV, got a lot of teams. And it's because it's all right. If I'm not good enough for you, no problem. I'll find someone else who thinks I'm good enough, or find a team where I'm good enough. And as I say, that's kind of given me the longevity, and I've still got the fire in me now, as when I was 16. And I think that's kind of because of the work I did when I was that age. And it was just got to accept that. All right, it's okay. This guy doesn't want you. This team doesn't want you. But we'll keep going. We'll keep knocking on doors, and eventually one will open. And I think that's the best thing that's come out of my football, really, is that with the mentality. I said, because the work was always there. I've never shied away from hard work. It's more the psychological side of the stuff.
Did you ever come close to quitting?
A few times. I'll be lying if I said no. I said, so I nearly quit when I was 18. I was going down a route of mixed martial arts. I was training every day at a great gym in Watford. It's closed down now, but a gym called Guinness Combat, and they had some great pros in there, and I loved it. That's the thing. I genuinely loved it. So that's the only reason why I'd have quit football. If it wasn't, it's not because it gave me more joy. Nothing's ever given me more joy than football, but I just really wasn't enjoying it at that time. As I said, I was blaming everyone. I'd just been released from Brentford. My heart had been broken. I thought, like, this is it. My dream's not going to come true. So I went down the route of mixed martial arts, and I trained every day. And I honestly, to this day, I still know 100%. If I'd have become a mixed martial artist, I still think I'd have been I'd been really good at it. I've kind of got that mentality,
Well, hey, it's not too late. I see all these, people from other walks of life getting in the octagon or getting in the ring. So
no. We was in the airport going to Tampa. And I saw, there's a guy called Paddy the Baddy.
Yeah.
Paddy Pimlet.
It was here. He was in San Diego last week.
We saw him at the airport.
Weeks ago, yeah.
He is massive. And I don't mean, we know he blows up a little bit and loses the weight. That's what he wants to do, no problem. He's tall. He's taller than me, and I think he fights at 155. I walk around at like 190. I don't know how I could cut that. I would fight a weight division above him, and he's bigger than me, so I don't know if I could do it now.
Paddy the Baddy was quite the hit in San Diego for a week. Showed up at the Liverpool pub.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah. He was in the Padres
Yeah, I see that.
clubhouse, hanging out with those boys, playing a little bit of beer pong.
Yeah.
So
I'd like to know
he
what-
said he'll be back, though. We got to get him in a
I'd like to know what brought him out here. No, like, because I say it's not. This is why I love the city so much. It's because we don't know about San Diego back home. We don't know about it. We know LA, New York, Vegas. That's all we know. Oh, and Miami. That's all we know. But when people ask me, my friends and family ask me about San Diego, all I say is you have to come. Even if it's just while I'm here, you have to come, because what we spoke about before. It's kind of one of those places.
Yeah. Once you get here,
you don't leave.
Almost impossible to leave. So I want to know, like, how you ended up as a striker, right? Because, like, you're physical. You just mentioned walking around 190. Is that a skill set? Is that a mentality? At what point? You mentioned you scored a boatload of goals younger, but when is it that position? Because you see so many different footballers that end up doing so many different things. How was it that you ended up saying, you know what I want to do? You know what I'm good at? Goal scoring.
So it's back to that game. It's back to that match when I scored the winning goal. It's back to that match. So
that feeling.
It's that.
Can you describe that feeling?
I can't describe it. I can't describe it.
I don't even want to compare it to stuff. I know people always try to compare sporting success to the other pleasures of life, like sushi or many other things.
Here's how I'll describe it.
For those of us who are never going to know what that feels like in a professional match, how do you put into words what it's like to score? Because especially in this sport, right? Like, it's just, there's nothing like it, that moment.
Okay, so when you've had a really, really, really hard week at work, and you get home on a Friday, and you go in the fridge, and you see a golden bottle of Corona, and you have your first sip, 10 times better than that. 10 times better than that. Yeah.
10 times.
10 times. It's like that, plus VAT, plus tax, plus state tax, but everything on top of it. It's honestly, I can't describe it. But as I say, the way I can explain it is that, so when I went to Rotherham and I played at Rotherham, played in a championship, which was a dream come true at the time. Played on the wing, and I wasn't getting many chances in front of goal. I did really well there for the team, and the manager thought I could have a really good career there, but I wasn't scoring goals. So I had to have the conversation with him where I wanted to leave a great club in a great league, and they've just got promoted back to the championship, to tell him I want to go, I want to be a striker, I want to score goals. And as this got back to that conversation, it just wasn't for him. I wasn't going to score the goals for him, but I could have stayed there and had a great career and earned good money and been back in the championship. I had three seasons in the championship. We'll probably still be playing international football, but because I wanted to go score goals, I knew I had to leave. I knew I had to go and play a different style and kind of recreate myself. So that's how much I want to score goals. Is that I kind of threw away a really good career of a really good club, playing a position that, all right, I don't love it, but it's still playing football. And yeah,
you like scoring that much?
Nothing compares to scoring goals. Seriously,
it's like a drug.
Seriously, it's addictive. Like, all I can think of is that when a musician goes out to a concert and people are showing their names, or these guys know I love wrestling, and I watch Stone Cold videos, and I watch their podcasts, and when they used to walk out and the fans would go crazy, they say that was like a drug. It's like something you just can't get back, but you want more and more of it. It's like, that's for me, that's what scoring goals is like, And it makes it even better when we win, of course, but just scoring goals is amazing. It's yeah.
I mean, assists are good, right? Hold up plays are,
of course.
It's all part of it.
Yeah, of course.
Right.
Of course.
Right, wink to Landon.
Right? of course. No, of course.
But he would understand, that rush, though, of being a goal scorer.
Yeah, he'd understand. And I guess when you kind of put so much work into trying to be a good one, so, like you said, I walk around at 190, but that's all from just going to the gym. I'm naturally skinny. My brother's skinny. My dad's skinny. So I'm probably the biggest one in the family, just through kind of working out in the gym. So I'm like this now, but I said I had to work on it, and like being both-footed, had to work on it. Now I can head the ball, had to work on it. So it's like I work on the things that will make me a great goal scorer. When I watch a game of football, I don't watch the game of football, I watch the strikers to try and learn. And yeah, that's the kind of work I put into it, so hopefully I can be a great goal scorer.
This is Ichiban oysters from Washington, and you have a yuzu kosher jelly that's on the inside with ponzu. This is a otoro toast, so fatty bluefin on top there for you, truffle oil, and then also microgreens.
That's pricked my ears.
So I think we both got the same, but
Yeah.
just opposite directions,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Does a day go by where you ever think to yourself, what if I had, not prioritized the goal scoring and just gone and been a winger and not scored as much, but,
Yeah,
but no regrets?
no regrets. No regrets.
See, I love that. That's being true to yourself. And that's a rare thing, because a lot of people will just do what they got to do because, this is how they think they're going to get paid or how they're going to be described as successful. You've defined your own success, right?
Well, it's easy to say that now. Well, we can start saying that now, but after Rotherham, I went on loan to Fleetwood and went on loan to Cheltenham. And in 50 games, I only scored 8 goals. So I was just questioning, I guess I questioned myself. Am I as good as I think I am? So those were the dark days where I was like, what have I done? What have I done here? Because I loved everyone at Rotherham. I still do. I still speak to the manager. Spoke to him on the weekend, congratulated him and the assistant managers, and I didn't have a great time there. I really didn't. So there was times I was really unhappy, but it's because of playing football. But I loved everyone there. But of course, there's been days where I've been like, what? Why did you not just stay there? I bought a house there. I was set up there. I had my own little stuff going on there. My own little community going on there. And I'd made friends there, and I could easily have just said, all right, this is going to be me the rest of my career. Is it going to, am I going to be fulfilled? Maybe not, because it's not what I want to be playing. But I can be here, and it's a really good, secure life. And who knows? Look, I may have got released anyway. But if I'd have really done what he wanted me to do, I don't think I would have done. I don't think I would have done, because he loved me in that position. But just because I wasn't fulfilled, personally.
See, I respect the hell out of that. I think, people who, define success and then say, this is how I define it. It's not up to you people to define my success. It's what I want to do. I think there's a lot of nobility in that, for what it's worth. Not that, my opinion.
It's brought me over here.
Couldn't be all that bad, right?
There you go. There you go. So yeah, say it's not been easy, and it won't be. I've still got a long time, and it'd be hard still. And
You're what, 29?
29.
So this is like more than half your life dedicated professionally.
We had a keeper, young Darren, on the bench on Saturday, and he's almost half my age. And this is the first time, and I remember when that was me, when the older guys were saying, "Oh, you're half my age," and they were saying that they feel young and old, or saying feel old. But I'm starting to see, But I feel amazing. It's been a long season, but I really do. So. We get into 30, but I think the best is yet to come for me personally.
I would, in addition to being super interested in goal scoring and the things that I'll never understand, I think everybody's aware of promotion, relegation.
Yeah,
You've been on both sides, right?
I have. Yeah.
How would you describe that? Like recently, we saw the NFL draft, where these teams get rewarded, right? Like, hey, imagine you're the worst team in the league and you get the best player, or perceived to be the best player. What's promotion and relegation like for a footballer?
So, promotions. I mean, like it's that's when I really learned what being a teammate is. Really learn what being a teammate is, because even though it's a team sport, we all have our own agendas, we all have our own wants and needs and what we want to achieve in our careers. But when you get promoted as a team and you've seen even players who haven't necessarily played much at all and haven't actually contributed on the pitch, how much they can contribute to a team being successful, and when you see how much they can be a part of it, like that's when you really understand what a team is and a team dynamic. And those promotions alone they're the pinnacle, probably the pinnacles of my career. Even with playing, that's obviously the pinnacle of my career, but like they're the days I remember. So I got promoted at Wembley. I will never ever forget that day. Never forget that day. It's honestly the best day of my life so far. Got promoted with Rotherham, but it was a bit different. It was because the season got cut short with COVID. We'd have gone up anyway, but winning at Wembley in the playoffs, the best day of my life. On the other hand, being relegated is, you have to really kind of not carry guilt. Learn to not carry guilt, because when in England, when there's relegations, there'll normally come a budget cut. So the owner, the chairman will cut the budget. And with a budget cut will come people getting sacked. It could be anyone. It could be a sports scientist. It could be a chef. It could be someone who works in the back room. So you as a team are responsible for someone's life and someone's livelihood. And your own, because we all take pay cuts, but that's secondary to like other people's livelihoods who are really there doing it for you as a team, and you feel like you let people down. And that's the hard part. And that's why England is so results driven. They don't care about performances, don't care who scores, how you score, what body part you score off. It's just about scoring goals and winning games. Because if you don't, there's a consequence. There's a price to pay. Yeah.
There's a lot of fans in the States who think promotion relegation would be a good thing. But you're describing a side of it I don't think a lot of people really understand. I think it's easy to be a Man U fan, right? It's easier to be an Arsenal supporter or Chelsea or Real Madrid, right? Most U.S. supporters gravitate towards the more successful clubs, right? They're on television, Chelsea or whatever. But there is that side of it. Like, that's a two-way street. I mean, I don't know that you're interested in offering that type of advice to a U.S. soccer fan, but is it a good thing? Because you're describing something on the relegation side that you clearly are, still impacted by.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, of course. It is. You genuinely do feel like you let people down. Is it? When you know what? I've never actually thought about it like that. Maybe it's not. No, maybe it's not. Maybe the way it's done here is the best way.
I don't know. I never really considered it from the standpoint of, carrying around some of the guilt of, what happens when you see mass resignations and people lose their jobs. And, those are real consequences.
Right. If you think about it in context, like even if you have a bad run as a player, a manager can get sacked in the middle of the season. Unfortunately, I've had a few sackings in my career, and that will, I guess that's someone losing their job. And it still happens in the MLS. Managers lose their jobs. I do think promotion relegation is the best way, just because of the entertainment. I think it brings so much more entertainment. When it really matters and the result really, really matters, you're 100% in it with your team. When it's like it kind of matters, we're going to make the playoffs and it doesn't really. It's like, it's some of the games can become a little bit, not fake, but a little bit, players, they don't, it doesn't mean as much to them, because as I say, the promotions, it's been the best day of my life, best day of my career. So I was at Blackpool when I got promoted at Wembley, and the owner was under a lot of scrutiny because he'd done some financial things with the club that the fans weren't happy with. And put it into context, Blackpool were in the playoff final 2 or 3 years earlier to go into the Premier League. Maybe 3 or 4 actually. and they had 38,000 there. Sorry, scoop this one now. Yeah, thanks, sir. When we went to Wembley, we brought 6,000. But I think on the day there was 35,000 there. Majority of the other team's fans, but still, nothing to take away.
You're part of that moment, that experience.
Yeah.
Is that like local legend status? Like could you walk into the pub and somebody would be like, "Hey"?
Well, yeah, I got recognised at the time, but the thing was that the club wasn't in a good place at the time.
Yeah.
So, as I say, the club had gone from the Premier League to League Two in I think 3 seasons, and it was we could so easily have got relegated again and gone to non-league. And once you're into non-league, it's like a black hole, because in most divisions in England there's 3 or 4 teams that get promoted, whereas in the conference there's 2. And there's only 1 automatically. So yeah, but I guess when I played them, when I went back there and played them, they clapped me, the fans clapped me. So I think they're doing it, but they know I gave everything for the club, and honestly that's my best times. I spoke about Rotherham with you, and I loved everyone there. But my best memories as a footballer is with Blackpool. And if you would ask me, what clubs do I love, I said great time at Rotherham. I was there the longest, but my love is Blackpool. Because I'd been on the back of such a hard couple of years at Peterborough, where I really questioned what I'm doing.
So one of the first things we noticed when you signed with Loyal, anybody who did a Google search found this image of you, Kyle Vassell, shirt off.
Okay.
You know which one I'm talking about?
Okay, maybe, yeah, perhaps.
Yeah, and immediately, anybody who's got a couple of working eyes, he's fairly tattooed.
A couple of tattoos, yeah.
Yeah. Tell us the story of first tattoo. How many tattoos?
All right.
Are we done? Are we a work in progress?
All right. So first tattoo was on my neck, which says aggression, bravery, courage. My ABCs, which sums me up as a 16-year-old, where my head was at.
16. First one.
16, yeah. Come home that day, still living at home with my mum, and she tells me to pack my bags. Says, pack your bags, like, what have you done? You've ruined your life. Like, how can you do this to her? She's worked, worked in a great area, and I've gone and done what everyone else does, what all my friends do. So she was devastated, she was literally heartbroken. So what do? The next day I go back to the tattoo shop and get her a tattoo, and I'll actually get it out for you. All right, let's pull this down.
My mom is my shining light.
My superstar.
My superstar.
Yeah.
So to apologize
Yeah.
to your mother, you went and got a tattoo.
Yeah. And you know what the best thing about that is? It's spelt wrong. It says my mum is my shining light, my superstar. Yeah. So that was that helped that situation.
Yeah. How'd that go over? Was all forgiven the next day?
All forgiven. Yeah. And obviously I had to apologise and kind of tell her, look, I'll be okay, Mum. I'm gonna become a footballer. Because as I said, she wanted me to get a normal job. And when I had that tattoo on my neck, she thought I was unemployable. And I guess I kind of wanted to be unemployable. So like it had to work with football, And as I say, it's worked out for me so far. But that was my first tattoo. People say you get addicted to the pain. Couldn't be more true. It's horrible. It really is horrible. But there's something about it that I love getting tattoos. I got ill. I got really badly ill. I've got one on my ribs, which you should probably see in that picture. It's a big native Indian head on my ribs, and I'd literally sat for 3 hours just tensing because it was so painful, and my immune system shut down completely. So I got really badly ill. Got glandular fever after that. But I'll do it again in a heartbeat, because I think it's a wicked tattoo.
So the first one you got 16.
First one 16.
What was the last one you got?
The last one is, I think it's just a bit added onto my back. I've got my whole back's covered.
Have you had one since you've been in San Diego?
No. So I've been loyal to my tattoo artist, guy called Bartek in Northwest London. Northeast London in Chingford. I've not gone to anyone in the last 10 years.
But you're not done.
I'm not done. And
Some good tattoo parlors in San Diego?
if I got one here, he'd forgive me. But there has to be a level of trust, you know. And when you're getting so many tattoos, I kind of wanna trust the tattooist, you know. And he knows and I like how he works as well, which is a big thing for me. So yeah, I've got loads. I'll get loads more.
Big thing with footballers.
Big thing with football. It's just a culture. I think it's just athletes. There's a lot of athletes, and just sort of my sort of generation, I guess.
Your manager, though, surprisingly, no tattoos.
Say that again?
Landon Donovan, no.
But he's the golden child, you know. Like Landon, you know, he's the American sweetheart. He's golden balls, you know. So he has to be perfect. He can't have tattoos.
Have you seen the generation of U.S. players? Come on, Christian Pulisic, you're a Chelsea guy. You've seen our tattoo game.
I know.
We're getting up there in the world. That's how I know we're more serious as a footballing nation. Our tattoo game is better.
Yeah, but it's American rappers that made me want to get tattoos in the first place. I used to love Wiz Khalifa, and Wiz Khalifa was tattooed all over, and that was literally when I was 15, 16, 17, 18. Is all I listened to, and that's probably a big part of why I got a tattoo so early. So yeah, I guess it's kind of like the culture, and I said my friends were getting tattoos. I just wanted to make sure I didn't get tattoos that everyone had. You know, you see a lot of the same tattoos on a lot of people, and so I drew a lot of my early tattoos. And
you drew them yourself?
Yeah.
So they're actually like meaningful?
Yeah, completely. And I spelt that one wrong. I did that, so I can't blame anyone for that. That was me. Google didn't autocorrect for me on this one, but yeah, I mean, I would. If I didn't have tattoos today, if you ask me a question, if I didn't have tattoos today, would I go and get tattoos? Probably not. Just because I went on a job interview. I've told the story to a few people, but I went on a job interview when I've been released from Brentford, and I was sort of trying to find something to do, or a way to work and earn money. Went on a job interview, and it was to be like a broker, but like a telesales broker. And the first question was something about my CV. It was like just double checking that everything was right. The second question was, okay, explain your tattoos. And at this stage, I had my neck more or less done. I had tattoos on my hands. And from then, and I literally started speaking, and I was looking at him when I was talking, and he kind of looked away, and I just knew, yeah, I'm not getting this job. Even if I was the most qualified person to get that job, I wouldn't have got the job. Is that stigma still there with tattoos? Probably not, but I don't think I would. Because in a couple of years as well, I think it's going to be more, you know, you kind of get tattoos to be not a bit rebellious, but to be a little bit different. It's going to be more different to not have tattoos in a few years, I think. Everyone's getting them.
I'm sure you feel right at home in San Diego.
For sure.
I mean, we're sitting in this restaurant. Have you noticed how many tattoos are just around us in a sushi restaurant? So I feel like you're home in more ways than one in San Diego. What is the story of how you ended up here? So I had heard that you and Charlie go back, I don't know if it's Brentford. You come out to visit him, train a little bit with the club last season, unbeknownst to most anybody, right? We're not even sure who Kyle Vassell is. So what is the story ultimately on how you end up in a Loyal shirt?
So, come out to see Chaz. Landon gives me I ask if I can train to stay fit. Landon gives me the okay. Day before I start training, I'm still signed at Rotherham. So we've got to get Rotherham to approve me training here, to allow me to train. Rotherham allow me to train, thankfully for them. And I trained and saying, look, I had absolutely no intention of staying here at all. I literally wanted to train, stay fit. I had a few things on the table back home. It was off season for me, and I was going home, and I was going to keep my career going back there. But there was just something about Landon and the way he worked and the way Nate and TD, the coaching staff, worked. There's just something about training that I actually really enjoyed. And as I said, with England, of course you enjoy it. I love playing football, but it's all results based, of course. So it's like we train how to beat teams. And Rotherham, we're in the Championship, we're a bit of a defensive team. And I just want to attack, I just want to score goals. We didn't really do that in training. It was all about how can we be solid and not let teams score against us. And I got there and it's just every day was just scoring goals and putting the ball in the back of the net. I was like, I need a bit more of this. And then Landon kind of spoke to me and said, look, would you be interested? I can't remember what I said. I think I said yes, but it's probably not going to happen. He goes, okay. And then he just spoke to me and said, look, I believe in you. I believe you're good enough for here and you're good enough to play in the MLS. So come and play for me and, you know, we'll help you get there. So, and when he said it to me, I knew, you know, people can bullshit you. Like, I've had it all my career. People really can bullshit you. He wasn't lying, and he sat down and we went for a video, and I knew he meant it, and I knew he wanted me, and I kind of wanted that feeling again, of being wanted, playing for a manager that really wants you and kind of is gonna put all his eggs in that basket. And as I said, if I didn't love the football here, and I didn't love training, you know, it wouldn't have been. And I'm just so lucky, San Diego, because it could have been anywhere. You know, it could have been in the coldest place you've got in America.
I was going to say, if Chaz is playing somewhere else, and you go visit your mate, maybe the situation's different.
Of course. But I truly believed in Landon and what you got, what he's doing here, and what the club are doing, and you know, I just felt like, yeah, I have to take this chance. So sign the contract, try and get it done, go home, and it's meant to be 2 weeks, and I'm back over here. 2 weeks passed by, nothing, no visa. 3 weeks passed by, no visa. 4 weeks passed by. I'm now getting a little bit nervous because the season's starting in England pretty soon. 5 weeks, I'm calling, saying what's happening, and they like, relax, it's going to happen. They went to the mayor. They went up to. They honestly did everything they could to get me signed for last season, but because of COVID, maybe because of Brexit as well, with what's happening in Britain, it just didn't happen. So I went and signed for Cheltenham. But the appointment I used to get my visa this time is the one that was scheduled for last season. So like, I'm a bit of a believer in like what will be, and what's meant to be will be, and it just fell into place perfectly. And then yeah, here I am.
So you played lower divisions in England. How does this experience so far compare to those? Like what stands out to you about playing in San Diego, playing in the USL?
So what stands out is that it's football is completely different. It's not almost two different sports. That'd be silly, but it's like, because I say in England, it's all about results. It's like, what's the best way for us to win a game of football? And more often than not, it's percentage, not pretty football. It's aggressive. It's get the ball in the box and try and hope for a chance to be created. Whereas here, it's very methodical. And there are teams in England that play that way. Don't get me wrong. There are teams that try and build from the back and play a really nice style of football. But most teams here try and build, try and play. I'm gonna try this one here. And I guess that's been the biggest change really, is that like how much detail that we go into here at Loyal, like on other teams and on what we do. It's honestly, it's amazing. I couldn't believe it. Like I couldn't believe it. but it's completely different. Slower, a lot slower. So a bit more methodical. We don't really have the like a lot of the Mexican or some of the South American players, really tricky, really like silky with the feet, like incredible dribblers. We don't really have that back home. We don't really have like players like that. So for me, it's been amazing, like playing with some, like obviously like we've got Guido, like the way he moves with a ball is just so different. It's so different, and it's like I love watching him play. And I say we come up against quite a lot of them. So yeah, that's been the biggest difference really.
How about our culture over here?
So here's another thing, is that, and this is, they had to kind of sit me down for this one, Nate and the gaffer and Landon. So in England, a lot of the teams I played for, if players aren't in the team, they want the team to lose. They want their own team to lose because they want to be back in the team. It's very cutthroat. It's it's.
The thought being, if some other players out there
Doing well in their position,
team does poorly, they lose, then that'll give them an opportunity.
Let's get back in the team. Whereas here, it's not like that. Even players that aren't playing, sometimes the players that aren't playing are the biggest supporters, are the biggest cheerers, are the ones that have the most joy. That for me is the biggest culture change over anything. Because the players were still footballers, still competitive, we still want to win, but like it's a togetherness of a team that I couldn't understand really, but for me that's amazing. If I don't want to become a manager, but if I wanted to, that's a fundamental thing that you would have to have. So the teams that were successful in England, we had that. We had players who weren't in the team, and like at Rotherham, sometimes it was me. I weren't in the team, but I still wanted players to do well, and a lot of my best friends in football, or the closest friends, are players who I played with, who are strikers, who I've been in competition with. But that's just kind of how I am. But I don't really get jealous. But like, I've had it on the other end where I know players are trying to like work me out the team, and I've seen players try and work other players out the team. It's very common. So that for me is the biggest cultural difference, and I would say one of the best things about football or soccer here, for sure.
And that probably starts with Landon, I'm guessing.
It starts in London, of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
How much do you know about Landon Donovan?
So,
I mean, obviously played in England, so he's best player the US has ever produced. So I'm sure you know, but how much do you know when you?
So I couldn't reel off any of his stats to you, how many goals he scored or how many passes he's made. But I know he's a massive deal. I know he's had an incredible career. I know he's probably the best soccer player, or he is the best soccer player America's ever produced. And that's all great, but it's when you actually talk to him that none of that matters. Like him as a person, mate. Like I played for managers who have played, and they have they've had a good career, and they've had a good career. You'd never know with Landon. You would never ever, if you didn't know anything about football and didn't know who your manager was, and you played for Loyal, you wouldn't know he's the best United States player ever. It's incredible, and that for me is the most endearing thing. And that's, as I said, that's a big part of why I came here. Is because of him as a person and how he is and how he carries himself. So yeah, I know he had a great career, and I know he's a great footballer, and he still joins in with a few things. And he was a great player. I watched him play when he was at Everton. I watched him play in the World Cups. Saw him play against England, of course. But it's like he makes that not matter, you know? It makes you, if you sign for Landon, you sign for him as a person, not for Landon the player.
So he's not constantly reminding you of,
Never.
hey, I'm Landon Donovan. Did you see that goal against
Never.
Algeria?
Never. And I promise you, I've had that a lot in my career. And I've seen it a lot. Not necessarily directly from managers, but right. I've seen it a lot. It's not who he is.
How much can a guy, at this point in your career, how much can you learn from him? just in terms of, the types of things that he has been able to do?
As much as I want to learn. Learning's a mentality. You're never too old to learn. And the perfect example of that as a footballer is Karim Benzema. He's having his best career at 34. So I came here to learn from him, to try and adapt to this, the football over here. Because I said I've got, I still want to achieve stuff in my career. I still want to play as high as I can. I'll play for as long as I can. And as I said, if I can learn from him, I know I'll achieve that, 100%.
I have seen every once in a while the club will, put out pictures and videos, and sometimes they show him training with y'all. I don't know how often he does it.
He does. He'll save himself now. He's done it a few times. I think he ran into a player the other day, and the player won the 50-50. So, but he does a lot of passing with us. And he rolled his ankle in pre-season as well. I don't know if everyone knows. He played a bit of basketball.
Oh, really?
So he was playing basketball, and his ankle went the wrong way, and he couldn't walk for a couple of weeks. So he was in a boot. But I think he's okay now, and he gets involved in a few bits of passing drills, or mainly in the finishing. He likes to serve for the finishing. You could see. I know he passes the ball soft to some players and kicks the ball very hard at me. I see it, but he's only trying to make me better. Yeah. I know he's in.
I can see that.
Yeah.
Did you have any expectation for what supporter culture would be like? And I wonder what I don't know if you had the opportunity to come to a match when you were here training last year.
I did.
This is year 3 of Loyal. It's something that started from nothing, literally, right? Lower division, sort of relatively new concept in the States. I don't know what you thought or what you think now, but your thoughts on our supporter culture.
Well, first and foremost, I came to a game last year, and I'm pretty sure the team was losing the majority of the game, but the fans were just singing the whole game. The chavals behind the goal, the locals behind the goal were just singing the whole game. I loved it, and I feel like, and they've accepted me straight away and taken me in straight away, and I feel like I've got a really good relationship with the fans. I'll be lying if I said I don't want to please them, because I do, because I say that doesn't happen in England. The fans are not like that. The fans don't cheer all game, win, lose or draw. The Galaxy game, the fans are incredible, and they literally sing and beat the drum the whole game. And for a player, it's amazing. It really is amazing. And then obviously when you score, and then when the guys want to take photos and sign stuff, but it's kind of like after games and stuff, they're always talking to you. Even if you play poorly. And I remember there's one game I played really poorly. That's all. You were great, Vassell. You were great today. I'm like, oh man, you don't need to lie to me, but that's great. I appreciate that. I love the fans. The fans have been great with me. Hopefully, I've been good with the fans, and I've done, and because it's a two-way thing, especially with players. We do have to engage with the fans. We do have to, especially when it's kids, because you may be that kid's role model, and if you give them if you're not a good guy to them, or sign something or whatever, then they might remember that, and they might then lose that love for football. And I guess we're just here to try and essentially put on a great performance for the fans, because if there was no fans, there'd be no football really, because COVID. I played with no fans in COVID, and it was crap. It was shit.
Right. Football with fans is nothing, right?
It's nothing. It was shit. So we are there for the fans,
See, I want to ask though, because I was going to ask you about that. I don't know if there was a moment in your life where you're a youth, and if you went to a match or something that you saw that lasted with you. But, this season more than others, I've had an opportunity to come and watch the interaction with the fans, with the kids especially. And to your point, do you think about that? Like some kid who could be 4 or 5 years old can go, that's what I want to be right there. Does that, I know it's a lot to process and there's no way to really follow up on that 15, 20 years down the road. But does that come into your mind that some kid's gonna go, the way you play, the way you interact is gonna impact that person somewhere down the road?
All the time. Now more than ever. So when I was younger, I was probably a lot more selfish. I didn't really engage with the fans, especially the kids, as much as I probably should have done. And I hate social media. I hate social media. Like, outwardly hate social media. But I'm only now trying to make a bit more of a conscious effort because of that, for that exact reason. Is that how else are fans going to engage with you, and how else are fans going to interact with you? So, but on a match day, I will always stop, talk if I can. I try and ask them, what's your position, how many goals you scored, or how many clean sheets have you got, and half the time they don't even know the answers. But it's more just showing them that, look, we're human, and they're obviously fans, and they want to come and see us. But we're human, and we care, and that you can hopefully, and I tell them that you can live your dream. If you want to be a footballer, then just go after it. Just work hard and go after it. And kind of, if you want to follow my route, don't let anyone ever tell you no. And you should be okay, because I think it's very easy, especially nowadays. When people get a bit of rejection or maybe a no, to lose faith and to lose heart and hunger and give up, I guess. So it's kind of just telling the kids that'll be my main message to them, and I try and tell them if I can that just keep going, just keep going. Even my mum told me to stop, not because she didn't want me to be happy or be a footballer, but because she thought it was a pipe dream. She didn't think it was realistic. But I'm fortunate enough to be sitting here and tell you that I kind of ignored her and made it happen. And I think that's I can tell kids to do that. And I'm not saying ignore your parents. Of course I'm not saying that, but I'm saying if it's really what you want to do, then go for it, just go for it.
See, I feel like that's a lot to think about as an athlete. It always blows me away when somebody talks about me doing radio and they say, oh, yeah, I listen to your show and that makes me want to do this, and that's something that's happened over the last few years. And, it sort of always takes you by surprise, because I guess, you don't always think about the impact that you might be having on other people, right? That are listening, or that in your case, watching, or just there, some young, impressionable boy or girl that goes, that's what I want to do. You've entertained me, and that motivates me to want to go kick the ball around a little bit longer at night or on the weekends and all that stuff that you did.
For sure. And it's tough, like, I've been asked about the role model, I've been a role model before, and I guess with that one it's tough. Like, I can't sit here and say I'm a role model, or I want to be a role model for children and for kids, because I don't think that's the right way to look at it. I think that there are footballers who are great footballers and do stupid things and stuff. We're just human. But if we can encourage kids and show kids that you can achieve this and this is possible, I think that's better than anything. And we can tell the kids kind of what it means and how to do it. I think that's more important than being like a role model, like showing a kid how to be. Or I think that it's more than just let's say if a kid sees us play and thinks that's what I want to do, it's saying them knowing that go and do it, go and do it.
And that could be any game you play in.
Anything.
At any time. You
Any
never
time.
really know the potential.
It's a training. The club let fans come and watch the training. So it's at training we go speak to kids. And there's sometimes kids at that point don't even care about football. There's kids that don't, and maybe one day that a switch might flick, and they might think that maybe I might try this, or like me, I'm actually really good at this. Let me carry on with this.
Yeah, that's a lot. And you're liking San Diego? Forget about the football.
Yeah.
Downtown.
Yes.
Decent weather.
Amazing weather. I think I've been there a couple of months, and I've already had more hot days than I've had in England in the last 10 years. Yeah, I love it. Incredible lifestyle, very chilled, amazing food. Yeah. And just real chill people, and I love it. Yeah, I understand why people come here and don't leave. And obviously, I've got the Anchorman t-shirt on.
Did you get that here, or did you?
I got it in England. I got it just before I came. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Got it before I came.
You were on it.
Yeah. I was
You
on
fit
it.
in.
Yeah. I know what I'm doing. Yeah. I know how to make. I know how to make myself welcome. Yeah.
You have. Hey, thanks for doing this.
My pleasure.
I appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Thanks, Kyle.
Thank you.